We live in the real world. Tell me, what is the real world known for having? Clouds, paper clips, pencil sharpeners, and of course, fast food. Now, many Europeans like to make the joke that Americans are nothing but idiotic, gun-toting, fast food-consuming lardasses that can't walk more than 10 feet, which justifies the need to place a burger shop on every available street corner. They are correct, but fast food chains are most certainly not an institution exclusive to the States. You can find a McDonald's in over 100 countries. Pizza Hut delivers all the way from Colombia to Korea. KFC was just recently considering opening up a store on North Sentinel Island. The natives responded to the offer by impaling Colonel Sanders' head upon a stick. You know where else you can find an abundance of fast food? Japan. You know what Japan is famous for producing? The anal assassin glove, which you can wear while you watch your favorite Japanese anime. Yes! How many of you can recall a time you were watching an episode of Maho Shoujo Piss Hunter, and in the distance you caught a glimpse of an establishment by the name of WcDonald's, or McDonald's, or Danny's? It's no secret, there are a lot of knockoff McD's littering the backgrounds of anime. But it's not just McDonald's, it's also Warlboro, Snackers, and Kitmot. Fake brands are as common in anime as panty shots, and in the age of the internet they've been shared across many a platform and elicited laughter from thousands. Some have gained more notoriety than others. Everyone's familiar with your Sidobuxes and your DK Peppers. But in today's highly educational video on trademark law, I'd like to concentrate on arguably the most famous food icon of the last century, McDonald's.
You know the one, McDonald's, for food, folks, and fun. It's all about hot food, happy food.
First off, a little historical context. On July 20th, 1971, the first of many McDonald's in Japan opened its doors in the Mitsukoshi department store. This inner-city location was ideal, as according to founder of McDonald's Japan, Den Fujita, foreign cultures and customs don't become popular unless they take root in the center of a country. And in Japan, that center was the Ginza district of Tokyo. Before this point in time, the only places you could really obtain a hamburger in Japan were near American military bases. So for the general populace, the arrival of McDonald's was the ushering in of a new age of cultural cuisine. Fujita himself reportedly stated, "The reason Japanese people are so short and have yellow skins is because they have eaten nothing but fish and rice for 2,000 years. If we eat McDonald's hamburgers and potatoes for 1,000 years, we will become taller, our skin become white, and our hair blonde." Can't argue with the man himself. Before the end of the 1970s, burgers began appearing in animation. And in the decades since, the familiar M-shaped arches have made countless cameos across all kinds of genres, including shonen, mecha, slice of life, and even hentai. However, the namesake is never consistent. In order to avoid the laborious task of gaining clearance to use trademark-registered logos and brand names, anime studios choose the easier, far more hilarious route of creating their own bootleg restaurants. They don't necessarily need to do this. Most North American companies are more than happy to have their product freely advertised in a medium popular among their primary demographic. However, due to the speed in which an entire anime is produced, most studios prefer not to endure the painstaking process of requesting use of a yellow letter M in the background of a scene. I mean, these people can't even be bothered to properly draw faces in the background. You really expect them to go that far? You know, a show could just easily create a fictional burger joint like Daioh Burger, or Flabburger.
Can I take your order?
But, come on. There's no fun in that. At this point, it's a competition. A competition to see who can come up with the absolute worst fake McDonald's ever conceptualized.
Shut up.
When it comes to fucked up Macca's misspellings, none hold a candle to the classic WcDonald's. You can't look at a single establishing shot of a city without seeing one of these. They're like the hand of Jesus on your shoulder, always there. Not even Cowboy Bebop can resist flipping that M upside down and slapping it on a street sign.
One good burger.
Now, even though it's definitely the most logical name change, I feel that WcDonald's isn't pushing the envelope enough for my taste. We're looking for creativity here. Just how fucking dumb can we really get with these names? McDimades, MaskDonald, YcDonalds. We're just going through the list at this point. WcDaniels, WcDonalds, McDonald's, McDonald's, McCrossnalds, Donald. This is the worst shit ever. Ryutsunolds. If Mac and Dick McDonald had only known of what horrendous butchering of their family name the Japanese would do decades on, do you think they would have done what they did? You know, it's sad enough that Ray Kroc turned their name into a symbol of corporate greed, but on top of that, they end up learning that Ching Chong Ping Pong, director of Tokyo Butt Blasters the animation, is going around mispronouncing their proud patronymic as WcDonaids.
I'm going to McDonald's. I'm going to McDonald's.
Thanks for having me along, Ronald.
Probably the most famous knockoff of McDick's is the version from the 2013 anime, The Devil is a Part-Timer, notable for being one of few instances where the restaurant is a part of the actual narrative. In this series, Sadao Mao, aka Satan, teleports into modern-day Japan with his gay manslave and finds himself working the counter at McDonald's, which is just across the street from Kentucky Fried Chicken. Satan concocts a master plan to abuse the McDonald's promotion system to gradually reach his goal of global domination.
俺はこの世界で正社員になってみせる。そして金と社会的地位を積み重ね、多くの人間をひざまずかせる実力者になり。
This is an excellent piece of social satire that derides the hopeless dreams and ambitions of the common fast food laborers of today, who aim to escape the confines of their own McDonald prisons and actually make something of themselves. It all goes to show, however, that not even Satan himself is powerful enough to rival minimum wage. Also, pretty good show. Check out Season 2, it's airing right now. I like Isuzu.
Goddamn cheeseburgers!
I've been talking about burgers for a while now. Allow me to make a real quick tangent to comment on something completely different. Pizza.
Hello everyone, I'm Pizza, president of Pizza. Have you heard of Hatsune Miku?
In the realm of anime product placement, few are as legendary as Pizza Hut, which has used its cheesy fingers to smear the vaginal lips of shows like Cody Gayass, Railgun, Darker Than Black, Wayne Sekai. I haven't seen Japan embrace pizza this much since they formed the Tripartite Pact. I am out of jokes. Okay, so Pizza Hut's hoard itself out plenty of times. But what about McDonald's? How many anime actually cut the jokes and just slip in that logo without a shred of shame? Well, quite a few actually. GJ Club, first 30 seconds of episode 1. McDonald! Just right there it is, in your face. Flash forward to episode 10. There is an entire extended scene dedicated to the consumption of a delectable McDonald's cheeseburger and why they are undoubtedly the best burger suppliers and why you should absolutely try one right now. Look how happy they make you. Here's a free coupon. Not hungry? Yeah right, you're always hungry. That piece of shit. Eat the burger. So that's a more recent instance of blatant McDonald's placement. Let's go a little ways back to the past. All the way to 1985. Megazone 2-3, an action sci-fi OVA created by Noboru Ishiguro, who directed Legend of the Galactic Heroes, among other classics, sees motorcycle enthusiast protagonist Shogo Yahagi working the counter at a McDonald's. This doesn't seem particularly out of the ordinary. That is until you get into spoiler territory. I'm gonna spoil the movie now. It's revealed that the entire city the story takes place in is a computer-generated replica of 20th century Tokyo on board a colossal spaceship that left Earth 500 years ago.
前から知ってたのか俺たちの住んでいるところが宇宙船の中だってことを
知っていたよ軍だけはずっと以前からな
何
The takeaway here is that, in the event that our governing overlords do indeed decide to place us all in a simulation to preserve the human race without losing control in a post-apocalyptic scenario, we can be safely assured that McDonald's will survive. Thank God.
Shadow basketball. Knuckles baseball.
I'm loving it.
Now, here's an interesting case. In Azumanga Daioh, there's a place called Magnetron Burger. It's where Osaka and Chiyo work during the summer, despite being underaged. However, it is confirmed by Chiyo herself that there actually exists a real McDonald's within the same vicinity. Here, we run into a paradox. McDonald's would never allow these flagrant imitation brands to copy their image. So, how can these two establishments possibly coexist? Parallel universes? Or maybe crime? Magnetron Burger has already proven that they're comfortable with child labor. Who's to say they aren't up to other kinds of illegal activity? What if all these bootleg McDonald's restaurants were just money laundering schemes being headed by affiliates of McDonald's themselves? Which would explain why they permit a copycat competitor that employs gullible little girls to continue operating in plain sight. I think I've made a grave discovery.
Thank you, come again!
So far, this entire video has just been me rattling off funny names and sharing images I found online. I'm aware of that. However, I'm yet to answer the glaring question of why anime studios even bother inserting these allusions to real-life restaurant chains in the first place. What's the point of taking viewers out of the story and making them laugh at a sign you drew in the background? Isn't that counterproductive? Well, to answer that question, let me make an example of an anime I always like revisiting. Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad. Beck is a coming-of-age story about a teenage boy named Koyuki who starts listening to American music to impress a girl he likes, because when you're 14 you do stupid shit like that. However, his blossoming interest in music leads to him playing guitar in a band started by his older American-raised friend Ryusuke. The part of the show that stands out are the numerous references to popular music, all the way from the Rolling Stones to Nirvana.
バンヘイレンもスティーブ・バイもポール・ギルバートもヌーノもザック・ワイルドも
Beck is a celebration of Western culture and influence, with symbols of Americana pervading both the backgrounds as well as the narrative itself. The cast is a bunch of hardcore Westaboos that prattle off references to existent bands and musicians, but how do you acquire permission to use the image of those bands? Bootleg merchandising, of course. Chinese sweatshop tier t-shirt designs that, if nothing else, give you a better idea of the character's musical taste and what kind of music they're influenced by. For instance, at several points Koyuki is seen wearing a shirt referencing the Velvet Underground and Nico, except in the anime it's been altered to Long Boy. See, I don't know who the fuck Long Boy is, but that's the power of iconography. Just from seeing that crusty Andy Warhol banana, you immediately make the connection to the band and you form the conclusion that Koyuki is a pretentious bitch! But more importantly, references to real-life stuff like this in any anime serve the purpose of shattering the dimensional barrier between the show and the audience. Depictions of familiar icons like McDonald's establish a greater connection between the 3D world we inhabit and the 2D world we've come to idolize as an ideal perception of reality. All these cute girls love hamburgers so much, just like me. And they all like to nosh on some McDonald's after school. I did that at one point. I too have used Microsoft Winding XO as my operating system before. It's just like reality. Some people probably don't like this, constantly having their immersion in a fictional world broken by references to places they see on a regular basis in their terrible adult lives. But once in a while, it can be rather healthy to be offered a reminder of the real world you'd prefer to leave far behind. You've been binging these cartoons for so long, maybe you forgot to have some lunch and got the stomach rumblies. Well, lucky for you, you're never too far from a WcDonald's. But maybe there is an unforeseen threat posed by these bootleg products. For years now, one of the biggest appeals of anime for Western audiences is how it serves as a window into a place on the other side of the world, a brightly colored glance at cultures and attitudes outside the realm of insipid American media. When you see an anime version of Tokyo and all the big-eyed Asian characters inhabiting it, you get the message, "Oh, yeah, this is something different, can't find this on American TV." However, with each WcDonald and Moonbucks and Peepoos we see crowding the screens, the less anime feels like an escape from our corporate world into a magical foreign dreamland, and more like another reflection of what we see on our own urban American streets. The expanding number of McDonald's cameos is indicative of the growing westernization of Japan. The more they adopt pieces of Western culture, the more it's gonna appear before us on our computer screens. And eventually, somewhere down the line, are we even watching an anime anymore? Or just another globalized commercial feeding into the pockets of Ronaldo McDonald?
I'm loving hamburger!